Naming Liberty by Jane Yolen. Paintings by Jim Burke. At the dinner table, Papa tells us his big idea. He looks at Mama serving the bread. He looks at my brothers, Shmuel, Aaron, Jacob, and me, Hitel, only 7 years old. Rubbing his beard with a meaty hand, he says, "I hear we can find a new life across the ocean. No more pogromists raiding our village, burning our houses, killing our lambs. No more generals taking our sons into the army without even asking our permission. We must find liberty in the land of America." Papa's voice throbs like a drum and is low, but his voice is always low when he has a big idea. And this is the biggest. Versailles, 1865. Monsieur Edouard de Lebolaige had a big idea at a dinner party at his country house. He tapped his fork against a glass. He said that in 11 years, France's great friend America would celebrate its 100th birthday. "We should build a memorial to their independence," he said, "the common work of both our nations." Everyone at the table applauded. Everyone except one man. Slim, elegant, with wavy hair and a mustache, Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi sat thinking, a monument for America. That was a big idea. Moving across the ocean to a brand new country takes time. A family cannot move quickly, so Papa sends Shmuel ahead to find us a place in America. "Write to us when you get there," Mama says, adjusting Shmuel's cap. "Write to us when you find work," Papa says, patting him on the back. Aaron and Jacob say, "Write to us about pretty girls and dances and parties." I whisper, "Just write." Paris, 1856 to 1870. Bartholdi was born in 1834 in France. From the time he was young, he loved art. His widowed mother, Charlotte, knew how talented he was, so she sent him to Paris. There he studied painting and architecture, but young Bartholdi loved large projects best. At 20, traveling in Egypt, he fell under the spell of the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx. He met Count Ferdinand Marie de Lesseps, who later built the Suez Canal. Both young men dreamed large dreams, but large dreams take time. Shmuel's letters come every other month. We read them till they are in shreds. "In America," he writes with his bold hand, "I am a greenhorn," someone who is new to American customs and American ways, someone who does not have an American name. "So I am calling myself Sammy." "What is wrong with his old name?" Mama asks. But I like the name Sammy. I like how it bounces on my tongue. Shmuel, who is Sammy, has a job now. He rolls cigars in a factory where people are paid to read newspapers aloud to the workers, in Yiddish and English. This helps him to learn to speak like an American. Alsace, 1870 to 1871. It took a war to stop Bartholdi from working on his great statue. In 1870, Germany invaded France, and Bartholdi hurried home to Alsace, the part of France where he'd been born. There, Germans occupied his mother's home. He was made captain of the French troops. When he had to surrender his town, he wept alone in his room. But a year later, the French prevailed. Now Bartholdi knew firsthand how precious freedom was. At last, he sailed to America to talk about his monument to freedom. It takes 2 years of Shmuel's letters, sometimes with copper coins packed inside, before we are ready to join him in America. We have to sell our dairy cows and chickens. We have to sell our ewes and lambs. We find a new home for the cat. Our plow horse, Simcha, is sold, along with the farmhouse and farm. Mama cries as she packs the dishes into wooden crates, our clothes into valises. Aaron and Jacob snuffle goodbye to their friends. Even Papa wipes a tear saying farewell to Simcha. I seem to be the only one excited to sail the ocean, to find liberty and a new American name. On the road, 1871 to 1872. Bartholdi's ship sailed into New York Harbor where Bedloe's Island stood. Bartholdi was full of excitement. He said, "Here my statue to freedom must rise." In his mind, he gave the island a new name. He called it Liberty Island. It would be an immigrant's first view of America's promised liberty. Then Bartholdi traveled from city to city, speaking to many prominent Americans, even to President Ulysses S. Grant, trying to excite them all about his idea. But it is a long way from an idea to making a monument for freedom. Shmuel arranges with a steamship company for tickets on a boat bound for America. But we live many miles from the ocean, and many more miles from America. We sit at the dinner table, and I ask, "How do we get from here to there?" Papa laughs, his blue eyes twinkling. "By cart," Aaron says, punching my shoulder. "By foot," says Jacob, pulling my braids. "By train," Mama says, hand over her heart. "By all of these," Papa says, "with God's help. And with God's help, I think, I will find a new name." France, 1871 to 1875. Bartholdi returned home, fired with enthusiasm. He made a series of models out of terracotta. In the first, Liberty's arms were empty. Her crown's rays pointed up, not out. Her expression changed from graceful to severe. But always her face was Bartholdi's mother's. Finished in 1875, the final model was 5 feet tall and displayed at a hotel banquet to raise money for the statue. The dining room was decked in red, white, and blue, the colors of the American and French republics. Bartholdi believed that with money and God's help, his monument to freedom would be built. Mama sews coins into our coat linings so that no one can steal our money. Then Butcher Kalman loads us onto his cart with our 3 crates and 4 valises. At a smelly hotel in Kiev, we meet an agent. He speaks Russian and Ukrainian and Yiddish. Unsmilingly, he tells us we have to wait. "I miss Yekatersanov," already, Mama says. 10 other families are at the hotel, some with bundles tied up with string, some wearing layers of clothing, afraid a valise might be stolen away. I remember our gray cat, and for the first time, I am a little sad. Paris, 1875. The banquet at the Hôtel des Louvres raised a starting sum, 40,000 francs. By year's end, contributors in France had added more, 200,000 francs in all. Bartholdi was relieved. He had the passion, but now the hard work could begin. He met with many craftsmen, plasterers, carpenters, metalworkers. He showed them his models and drawings. The craftsman would start by making Liberty's right hand holding a torch. Though the whole statue would not be ready for the American centennial, Bartholdi was not sad. It is many days till the right train comes. Each day we go to the station and wait. Papa smokes with the men, Mama chats with the women. Aaron and Jacob tease the girls, smiling at them and telling lies. But I run up and down the station, turning around till my skirts bell out. The rubles in the lining of my coat bang against my legs. I am so excited, I cannot settle down. I want to be an American, to have a new name, but it is a long way from here to our liberty. Paris and Philadelphia, 1876. Bartholdi's monumental statue was made in sections of copper because copper was easy to work with and was lighter and cheaper than brass. Bartholdi always had to think of the expense. It took 20 craftsmen working 10 hours every day for half a year to finish the hand and torch in time for the Philadelphia Exposition. By June 1876, a full month after the exposition opened, the 30-foot section was ready. In August, it was shipped from Paris, a long way over the ocean to Philadelphia. At last, our train chugs into the station, its steam rising around us like great clouds. The unsmiling agent hurries us up the steps. We crowd in with the boxes, crates, bags, tins. Then the train starts up, creaking, groaning like an old woman getting out of bed. Sitting next to Mama, I watch as we cross Europe. The countryside speeds by. Faster, faster! I pray for the faster we go, the sooner we will be in America, and the sooner I will have an American name. America, 1876 to 1877. Bartholdi crossed America many times, raising money, asking for support. On February 22, 1877, Congress voted to accept the statue as a gift from France. They voted as well to maintain the statue and to find a site on which it could stand. They found an architect to make a pedestal. Bartholdi decided to call his statue Liberty, Enlightening the World. It was a big name for a big statue, but it was not her American name. Days go by, fast and slow. We eat and sleep on the train. Then the train stops in a big field with a single house squatting in the middle. Out, out, cries the agent, herding us as if we are sheep into the house. Inside are white-clad men and women who, like angry angels, take our clothes and boil them in kettles on the stove. We are thrust into showers. The agent says, "If you are dirty or sick, you cannot get on the boat to America." So we endure it all. The fear, the steam, the showers, the confusion. Paris, 1878. Liberty's head was built next. It took more than a year. Many metalworkers put it together under Bartholdi's steady gaze. In June 1878, the head was moved from the workshop to the Paris Universal Exposition. It went through the streets of Paris on a huge cart drawn by heavy horses. People lined the dawn streets, a boil of bodies, a great confusion, to watch the massive head rocking with the motion of the cart. Liberty seemed to nod at the onlookers. At last we come to the city of Bremen, where a boat is waiting for us. It is small, filthy, packed with people. All we have left to eat is herring and bread, which Mama has kept in her carryall. We spend over 20 days on the boat. There are 2 tiers of bunks in the dark, smelly hold reached by climbing down narrow stairs. At night it is hard to sleep because people snore around us, above us, because of the low, sad sound of the foghorn. But I pretend the foghorn is saying, "Soon you will be free in America." Paris, 1881 to 1884. Now it was time to build Liberty's body. First, Bartholdi had to find an engineer who understood how to make a structure strong enough to hold 32 tons of copper. He turned to Alexandre Gustave Eiffel, known as the Magician of Iron. Agreeing to design Liberty's inside, Eiffel put a double spiral staircase in her body. Inside she was clean and empty but for the stairs. A photo taken on July 4, 1884, in Paris showed Bartholdi at the foot of Liberty as he presented her to his fellow citizens. She towered over the Paris rooftops. Soon she would be sent to America. It is so hot in the hold, too hot. I go on deck to breathe in the ocean air. The agent is clinging to the rail, staring out across the water. "Are you a greenhorn, sir?" I ask. For the first time he smiles. "No, child, I am an agent." "Then you have an American name?" He laughs. "In the old country, I am called Velvol." I nod. I know the name. It means wolf. But here in America, I am called Will. I say his name softly, a kind of prayer, that I too shall find an American name. America, Paris, and Rouen, 1884 to 1885. American Richard Morris Hunt designed the pedestal, his expensive plan reworked several times. Newspaper owner Joseph Pulitzer helped raise the extra money. July 4, 1884, though still in France, the statue was officially given to America. Bartholdi took guests into her body, leading them up and down the spiral stairs. The following year, Liberty was dismantled and packed into 214 crates. A train of 70 cars carried her to Rouen. After a month on the ocean, she arrived in New York, where she was greeted by a huge number of ships. Some 10,000 people on the ships and shore cheered and waved handkerchiefs and flags. We sail into a harbor where a huge shining statue of a woman holds up a lamp to welcome us in. "That is Lady Liberty," Will tells me. "She came here in crates, by train, then boat." "Just like me," I say, and he grins. A white bird flies overhead. Around us, people come onto the deck, shouting, pointing, waving, cheering. Aaron and Jacob throw their caps in the air. Suddenly I ask, "Is Liberty an American name?" Will nods. "Very American," he tells me. New York, October 28, 1886. The pedestal was completed in April. By October 25th, Liberty was reassembled. She was 151 feet high from the top of her base to the tip of her flaming torch. She was 305 feet high in the foundation, if the foundation and pedestal were counted. Dedication day dawned gray and rainy. Liberty's face was veiled with a French flag. Ecstatic, Bartholdi pulled a special cord, and the flag on Liberty's face came off. Standing tall on the island, she gazed out over the harbor. A gift from France. She was now an American. We get off the boat at Ellis Island, where people ask us many questions. A doctor checks us all over. Then a man writes my name on a landing card and hands it to me. But it is my old name, Hitel. I feel like crying. I turn and see Shmuel, Sammy, waiting. I almost don't recognize him. Then I run and jump into his arms. Welcome to America, Hitel, he says. I realize then that I am no greenhorn. Here in America, I say, my name is Liberty, but you can call me Libby, and he does. New York, October 28, 1886. 21 years after de Bolaya's big idea, Lady Liberty was welcomed to America. In the harbor, Navy ships ferried special guests over to Bedloe's Island for the ceremony. The only females allowed there were Bartholdi's wife, Jean Emile, and de Lesseps' 8-year-old daughter, Totote. The man-of-war guns sounded. Small boats blew their steam whistles, and thousands of people cheered. Bartholdi would later say of that day, about his long passion for the statue, "The dream of my life is accomplished," and it was.